Up first to the Shining Star Award for Corporate Partnership. It goes to TripAdvisor Charitable Foundation, which is part of TripAdvisor. And of course, they're the world's largest travel website based locally here in Newton. Have you seen their new building up on 128? It's pretty awesome. The foundation's relationship began with TripAdvisor back in 2011 when they were encouraged to apply for funding by TripAdvisor's Assistant General Counsel, David Morris. And David certainly has become quite involved since then. David was aware of the Flutie Foundation's work and the challenges presented to so many families living with autism because of his own 8-year-old son, Benjamin, who was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2.5 years old. In 2012, the TripAdvisor Foundation generously donated $100,000 to the Flutie Foundation to support both its general grant cycle and then the newly established Allison Keller iPad program, which you heard Lisa talk about. Thanks to this initial contribution, the Flutie Foundation was able to provide support to 36 organizations, and that was an increase of 20% over the 30 nonprofits supported in 2011. And in addition to that, they were able to increase their distribution of iPads to more than $70,000, with 11 organizations and schools receiving iPads and accessories and softwares. And think about it, these iPads, how important they have become because they play such a role in facilitating learning and communication for children with autism, especially with those who have acute disabilities communicating verbally. And then 2 years later, in 2013, the Flutie Foundation was awarded an additional $125,000 from the TripAdvisor Foundation to further their impact even more. Their continued support and partnership came at a time when alarming statistics were just beginning to be released by the CDC. And as you heard Lisa say, I want to remind you, because this is an extraordinary, unbelievable statistic, that 1 in 68 children, 1 in 68 had autism, and the epidemic was growing. As more and more families are in need of support, the TripAdvisor Foundation has stood along the side of the Flutie Foundation, making a tremendous, huge difference. And today, the Flutie Foundation is thrilled to announce that they have recently been approved by the TripAdvisor Foundation to receive, listen to this, $150,000 per year for the next 3 years. How fantastic is that? Extraordinary, and that money is going to support not only the general grant cycle and what is now the Allison Keller Education Technology Initiative, formerly the iPad program, but also that newly formed Flutie Spectrum Enterprises, which we saw some more about in the video, which will foster employment for local adults with autism. David now serves on the Flutie Foundation Board of Directors and on the Advisory Committee for Flutie Spectrum Enterprises. Please join me. Oh, we're going to play a video. Excuse me, I almost missed that cue. Let's play the TripAdvisor.
Our CEO decided years ago that it was really important to kind of give back and donate some of our profits every year to the Charitable Foundation to then give to important causes. We have a very specific employee-focused program that donates money to causes that our employees are directly involved in. I've applied for grants from the TripAdvisor Foundation towards the Flutie Foundation that have supported the General Grant Fund, the iPad program, and now Flutie Spectrum Enterprises. You have this exploding population of young children on the spectrum becoming young adults on the spectrum. Everyone's been involved in this to help build this self-sustaining program, provide gainful, good, positive employment for adults on the spectrum. We want to build something that is self-supporting and that's providing the help that the population needs. This is a company that hires employees with a lot of empathy and passion. And then when you see that there are a number of people here who have kind of deep personal connections to autism in one way or another, other folks hear about it and they're energized and engaged by that. We have this Charitable Foundation. It's not just an ego trip for anyone. It's far more than that. You combine that sense of charity and giving that's kind of imbued in the organization with kind of often a younger and energetic employee base who is really open and willing to get involved and passionate about causes that help the greater good. You just can't beat that.
Thank you. My wife Debbie and I are humbled to be up here accepting this award on behalf of the TripAdvisor Charitable Foundation. As I said in the video, our CEO, Steve Kaufer, created the foundation in 2010 with the kind of philanthropic mission of alleviating human suffering. We do this by giving back locally to charities identified by TripAdvisor employees and their charitable commitments, and then globally through other dedicated partnerships designed to be done in a profound and meaningful way. So the goals of the Flutie Foundation have been truly a perfect match for TripAdvisor Foundation's mission, which is first, helping people with autism get access to the care and services they need, and then second, helping them grow towards adult independence.
We often talk about our life as parents before our son's diagnosis and then afterwards, how our lives were changed in an instant, but then not at all. We learned how difficult it was to find the right care and support for Ben. It is exhausting on the easy days and seems utterly insurmountable on the hard days. On a good day, Ben will come to us and say, "I had a 100% day of school. Can I please have screen time?" Unfortunately, the bad days happen also. Thankfully, we are blessed to have some amazing people surrounding Ben to help him. We have carefully assembled a dedicated team of kind and patient service providers and friends around Ben who help him develop the skills to navigate through his days. But what happens to the kids who are not fortunate enough to have these types of resources and advantages? For example, how do you find the right doctors, psychologists, and therapists for your child? What about technology to help children who are nonverbal? How do you navigate the world of ABA, OT, SLPs, IEPs, 504s, and the rest of the alphabet soup that is the special education world? Once you arrange for the support, how do you coordinate all of the various people and services?
And in addition to that, we asked, what about the day-to-day things, like teaching your autistic child the nuances of socializing with neurotypical children, and how do you avoid bullying? And finally, how do you pay for all this? There's a lot of questions, and that's where the Flutie Foundation steps in, helping families and children to connect with and pay for these vital services and supports that their children really need. The Flutie Foundation supports so many amazing programs that helps children on the spectrum. I can attest to the impact that these types of grants can have, having seen it firsthand. In addition to our son Benjamin, who's on the spectrum, our niece Maya is also on the autism spectrum. She's 6 years old, and she's largely nonverbal. As you might expect, this makes it nearly impossible to connect with her and makes it very hard to fulfill her wants and needs every day. She recently received an iPad from a program that's very similar to the Allison Keller, we call it now the Education Technology Initiative, Kevin. It was the iPad program for her. It was a lot simpler. But that's a, either way. And it's loaded with autism-specific software, much like we've done with our program here. You've loaded with software, a protective case, so the kids can't destroy them. And those iPads are easy to destroy, so we know how important that is. And with that, I had my first meaningful conversation with her ever this year. And it was just amazing. She's 6. It's a long time to go with just looking at someone and maybe pushing them on a swing, but actually having that conversation because she can go and engage with the device. And it's magic what the iPads have been able to do. And this just wouldn't have been possible without the efforts of groups like the Flutie Foundation. At the TripAdvisor Foundation, we're also incredibly excited to be supporting Flutie Spectrum Enterprises, and it's planned to help this ever-growing group of young people on the spectrum who are now entering adulthood, where the amount of support and services is just incredibly limited. TripAdvisor's experience working with the Flutie Foundation has really been a model for us and what we hope to accomplish with other charities across the world. Finally, I'd like to thank Doug and Lori for creating this foundation, to Lisa, Chris, Nicole, Lisa, and Brittany for your unbelievable leadership and dedication to this cause. And really to everyone here in the room, thank you so much for your generosity and support for this amazing cause. Thank you.